Hey, people primates, the silly, silly Homo communion. So this is another in the work industries, motivated and inspired by CBC News. Look what it says, CBC News. I'm not finished. I'm halfway, or not even, a little bit more actually, halfway. Then I do math, by the way, so it's hard for me to get work because I'm good at math. It makes people uncomfortable that I'm good at math, even simple math. The number of people working dropped by 6,400 last month. I would have titled it a bit more The People Found Working at Work Dropped by. That could be like an entire video right there explaining how money moves around in work industries, but not in ways that increase either the amount of work being done or the quality of the work being done. That could be, again, many, many vlogs. What I want to say here, because I criticize them with this comment, CBC News chooses to believe what their very disconnected specialists are saying about work industries in Canada. The answers are not to be found in economics, which is not part of the social sciences. It's just part of the ideological, magical, monetary, wizardry cult nonsense that most of you believe is part of the natural world, or even of a real civilization made up of social creatures, but rather in the real social sciences. And I wrote here. Now, so far there's almost, or there might be by this point, because it's an hour ago, 1,000 views. There may be 25 comments or more. But again, CBC News does kind of remove comments they don't like a lot. So we'll see who wants to respond to this or go see any of my work industry series and maybe write comments on it. And this very post here by CBC News is certainly giving me ideas for many more. But I've already had ideas for many more. And one of the ones I want to say, again, relates to my own theory. And I've been posting about this and saying it in vlogs for years, is not just HR people or managers or supervisors, but less and less people actually do anything other than post a job. They don't want to really meet people or talk to people or check references or train people. And it's weird. It's weird that we keep thinking. My own relatives think I'm lazy. And I've got 3 post-secondary degrees. I've traveled the world extremely poor looking for work worthy of me and gone extended periods of time for this. And yet, because I'm not a generic automaton, supposedly I'm lazy. Pretty weird. I just want to defend the human standards and the human rights that I know I have. So when it's blamed that more and more people don't apply for work or don't want to work while we push drugs in our communities, I'm sure, it's hard to find qualified people. And they're not qualified because now you can just buy a certificate by just showing up, or a diploma or a specialty, but not really have it, and that includes Canadian society. So many people that have a diploma that is the latest one with that title and similar to the person that had the job before. Now they're waiting for somebody that has the same diploma. They'll never test to see. I just applied for the same job that I saw more than a month ago in this community. That is a great fit for my skill sets and my passion for what I want to focus on. I just applied for it again. And again, where I go to the Salvation Army to eat, the same ad for more than 2 months has been up there, and it hasn't been filled. And when I've sent to the email from 2 different emails, attempting to send my resume again to a lady that was a temporary supervisor there because the other one was on vacation, it bounced back. So again, does it mean I don't want to work or I'm lazy? And does it mean that when you make it so normal as a society to have drugs and criticize people whose drug addictions are worse than the norm, who receive a paycheck but are semi-functional, but the quality of their work keeps going down, or the cultures they belong to has as much money being invested in it but less work being done for these industries, so much less quality or cultural repair or self-correcting functions. There's no quality control, there's no assessments. And this is the same with post-secondary education. So you can't find trained personnel or people that aren't afraid to do the job when they come out of the school with their brand new diplomas. And part of it is you don't evaluate for the quality of what they learned or didn't learn and how much the teachers cared or didn't care. If they're receiving a paycheck, the teachers at post-secondary educations, and they're not worried about not doing well because their employers don't care either, yeah, you're getting what you're getting. So what we have to talk about is this. Again, guys, removing carbon from the atmosphere and heat from the ocean is not something your species would ever succeed at. But again, you don't know this because you think that's what would solve the Anthropocene. You don't realize the Anthropocene is right here. It's been getting worse and worse, your collective, as a species, abilities to access the higher functions of your brain. So it's not about economics, people. It's about the laziness that's growing, the chauvinism, the human chauvinism. Do you know, here's another socio-cybernetic feedback that I'm telling you about that's accelerating the decline of your species' ability to self-correct or even access the higher functions of your brain. Do you know how easy it is for me to find people that judge others, but they really are in the same norm as them, or they're actually inferior? But if they develop a tiny little belief, and most of them do because they're the center of the universe, and if only people were more like them. Now, they judge others because they believe there's a tiny, tiny variation between them and the others they judge in relation to intelligence or success. And again, the way you define intelligence and success is very, very questionable. It's very much evidence. There's a lot of things going on up here. Now, when they meet people like me, they realize, I'm getting a mirror to look at here and I can see myself, because Martin is now getting me to explain things that I'm saying with a lot of passion. Nobody's done that before, because that's what an Homo sapien would do, and they don't realize they've met their first Homo sapien. Say, what do you mean? Can you give examples? I know what you're saying, but can you give me one example? Like if you're attacking one person or you're attacking, a group of people, can you give me one example how you've generalized all this and how somehow you are superior as to me, as I'm observing you right now, and this is not a just for laugh gags. You really are not playing a trick on me. You're really acting incongruent or inconsistent or in opposition of your point as you're making this point. And they are, and it blows their mind that I notice this and that I talk about it. So again, the issues with everything is stop talking about economics and start talking about what's wrong with us. We see all these refugees around the world. And so for a generation at least, you have to ask, let's say they're 25 years old on average. Let's say these refugees all around the world. And we're talking about, well, look up the numbers. I'll let you be surprised when you look it up. The current numbers of how many people qualify for the word of refugees. They have to leave a place because it's really not good there. Let's pretend they're about 25 years old, the average of the refugees. I'm not saying that, but let's pretend that's an average. Now, do you know that you have to ask yourself, the people that had kids 25 years ago, were they somehow living in a heavenly place where everything was stable and structured and it was a good idea to bring people in the world? Did they never hear of the concept of family planning or contraception? Did they have some sort of weird false beliefs that somehow this was just on the day they made the baby, this was just, oh man, this is probably the last day it's going to be bad here in our culture or country or society? And somehow it's still a good idea to bring people into the world. Like, you guys do not self-correct. I'm serious. You can't be trusted having offspring. So talk about that. The world is not about how many people have jobs. when the jobs accelerate the Anthropocene, it's probably better they don't.